weeks from now, or whatever it is, 5 weeks.
Well, we are joined by no stranger to the Homestead-Miami Speedway Media Center, Carl Edwards. Carl, it's great to have you in, and you're having a great season in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. How special, though, would it be to come back as being one of those 4 drivers getting a chance to compete for that?
Yeah, I don't know if this is nice of you to put this trophy up here, or I don't know what you're trying to do, but it's working. It's got my my emotions all wound up. My dream is to be in that Final Four at Homestead, to win that race, and to be the Sprint Cup Series champion. Not even sure what you asked me, so I'm just going to talk for a second.
That's all right.
I forgot what the question was, but things have been picking up for us. We've been running really well. We had a great run at Kansas, and you know, our pit crew's doing well. We're qualifying well. That was the best performance at 1.5 miles I believe we've had since Texas. So, you know, this test is going well so far, and hopefully we can go run really well at Texas and come back here and dominate this race. That is what we're planning on doing. That's what we're hoping to be able to do.
Outstanding. If you have a question, raise your hand, and I'll get the mic to you.
Carl, Chris Green, South Dade News Leader. You were part of arguably one of the most thrilling championship battles in NASCAR history here at Homestead-Miami Speedway with Tony Stewart. Yeah. This is Tony Stewart's last season. Just reflect kind of on what it was like to be part of that, and now that he's retiring, what that means to you personally to have been part of history.
That was the most fun championship battle I've been in. I mean, those last few weeks. You know, people around me said, "Man, that's the happiest I've ever seen you." I mean, it just is so neat to be racing that hard for a championship with a guy like Tony Stewart, a guy who's, you know, one of the best drivers on earth. That was a blast, and that race, that whole weekend was really fun. All of that pressure and it seemed like everything we did mattered. Everything was important, every lap, and was really hoping Tony would be in the chase and we'd get to battle it out again. That would be really cool. But yeah, looking back on it, that's the kind of thing I'd really like to be part of again. I'd like to have a battle like that here in a few weeks. That's as good as it gets.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. First of all, I wanted to ask you kind of what you guys are doing here this weekend, what you're working on, and you know, your input from that.
It's good to see you, and we're just working on a bunch of different things. You know, this sport is evolving so quickly. All of the teams are pushing. I talked to Dave a little bit about it this morning. He said as he sits there and watches the race from on top of the box, all of the chase contenders are all up there racing in the top 10. We're all fast. I don't know what kind of caption you can put on that photo, but so yeah, we're working on a bunch of different things. You know, but really this is a neat opportunity, even though it's testing conditions, and you know, a couple of teams opted not to come here. There are a bunch of reasons for that, I'm sure, but one of the things that can happen is you can come test and be too confident in what you find out. So we're being, you know, we're just kind of going through some things, but really having fun. I mean, this place, especially in the sun like this, you drive down in the corner, slide up by the fence, and I mean, I really feel like I'm driving a race car here. And I was just telling my spotter, it's just a fun place to drive. So even if we don't gain anything huge for the car, we're having a good time.
And my second question was also about Talladega, and you are in, you know, a pretty good position, yeah. But what is it like for you to have to race when so many of your teammates are also still vying, you know, to move on, whereas maybe a couple of other guys might expect they could get help from someone else because they're the only one on their team that needs it. But what's it like at JGR?
Well, you can see, I mean, we race hard against one another. Everybody at JGR, we work very well together, but you could see it. I mean, we all race hard. You know, you saw it at Kansas. Kyle and I raced each other very hard. Matt and I raced hard each other hard on one of the restarts early in the race, and it's racing. So I think that as long as we can balance that, and as long as we can motivate one another and not take it over the edge, I think it's great. Being part of this group with with Kyle, Matt, Denny, and Martin to some extent. You know, he's not a true teammate, but I get to talk to him a lot. It's been something that's made me a lot better driver, and it'd be cool if I'm sure I have to battle one or more of those guys if we're in the Final Four, and that'll be fun. Thank you.
Carl, Chris Clark with NBC6 here in Miami. Heading to Talladega, you're in the middle of the pack. You're in the mix, but right. How do you balance out racing for the win with at the same time making sure that you have enough points to move on?
I haven't looked at the points. We haven't discussed that yet. I guess we've got a 20 or 25 point cushion, which can be erased in an instant at Talladega. So right now the plan is to go there to win the race and, you know, leave no doubt. But that race, you know, so much can happen. I mean, the first lap could be a disaster. So you have to respect the place, but then also respect the fact that any of the competitors that are in it can go out and win the race. You know, they could finish, you know, all in the top 10. And if you're out there cruising around taking it easy and have a problem, you're in deep trouble. So, you know, we're just going to go race for the win.
Why is Talladega so unpredictable? Why do you hear that word so often?
Have you watched it? I'm not being a jerk. It truly is. It's unpredictable because you cannot separate yourself from the group. And, you know, everything is on edge with all these cars all the time. If you have one guy with a flat tire or one guy that has a miscue or a mistake or a blown engine or something, you're in a group. I mean, you could fit, I don't know, 15 or so of the cars in a space the size of this room, and we're all going 200 miles an hour, and there's just no room for error. So it's that's why it's so unpredictable. You're really at the mercy of a lot of chance the entire day.
Hi, Carl. Roxanne Vargas, also with NBC here in Miami. Wouldn't it be great to come back here in November and share a win via Twitter, your own Twitter account?
Yeah, yes.
Not your team's, yours. What is it going to take to get you to sign up to your own Twitter account?
I've committed that if we win the championship, I will join Twitter or participate. I actually sent out my first tweet via Randy Fuller, my PR guy, the other day, but he couldn't get. I was using his phone, so he couldn't get a picture of me actually doing it. But yeah, if we win the championship, I'll start.
November.
Good question.
Hey, Carl, Matt Doolittle with Shakedown Zone. And just follow up on that. Just stay off Twitter. You're better off. You have a bad night during the debates or something. It just turns out bad. Trust
Yeah,
me.
that's the thing. I'm nervous of some of the things I would.
Yeah, you're better off. Stay out of trouble. Real quick.
Know thyself, right? Yeah.
You've answered all the racing questions. I just want to know one thing. What is the real Subway sandwich you actually go in there and order? Or is that in the commercial? Because I see it 100 times. I just want to know.
I actually had Subway yesterday for lunch.
Of course you did. Yep.
I did, man. I actually have a photo of it. I don't have Twitter to share it, but I had a rotisserie chicken on wheat, toasted. It's a great sandwich. So I've been eating Subway for about 20 years now, and it's.
You got one of those cards where you just go in and get it?
Yeah, then but one of my family members took it, so so now I don't have one of those cards. But anyway, yeah, I enjoy Subway, so. I really do, man. It's like
I'm not blaming you.
I don't know if it believes you. Like, yeah, sure.
I'm a tuna guy, but you know, it's not, I'm not as healthy, but you know, it's good.
Anyway, I had to pay for it, so.
Breaking news: Carl Edwards pays for his own Subway.
Yeah. Well, and I paid for my spotter and my other buddy that was there. So yeah. And they have the new little I think it's X2 or something energy drink. Got one of those and all the drinks. It was anyway.
Carl, Alex from NBC Miami as well. Tell me a little bit about the family aspect when you come to Homestead, end of the year, and what that means to you, the team, and your family as well.
It's I was just telling one of the guys in the hauler, it's just neat to come here. You know, at that time of year, where I'm from, it starts to get pretty cold, and it's nice to come here and see palm trees and be able to go over the ocean, and it's just a nice place. I mean, I like South Florida a lot, and I think everybody enjoys coming here. So. You know, that's one of the neat things about the schedule. We get to go to a lot of neat places, and they've done a good job of, you know, we go out to Phoenix when it's nice out there. We come here, and I think everybody enjoys coming here.
Do you have any favorite Subway stores in Miami you go to?
Subway stores? No, I don't have any here that I know of. No, I don't. I don't have a good Subway story for Florida. Sorry.
One more question for you, Carl. You've done really well at 1.5 mile tracks. Homestead, obviously, a 1.5 mile track. What is it about Homestead in particular that makes it good for you as a driver?
Are they giving away the boat this year to the winner? Does anybody know? Is there a boat? All right. I was thinking if they weren't giving away a boat, I might win, because every year that I've won, I've been like, oh, we get a boat. Like, no, they're not giving away the one this year. Then the next year, you don't win. It's like, oh, well, they weren't giving away a boat anyway. Oh, they're giving away a boat. So, anyways, hopefully it's not the absence of a boat that makes you run well. We're going to get that boat. I like the 1.5 miles, and I like the 1.5 miles like this one because you slide the car around a lot. It drives a lot like like the dirt tracks I grew up racing on. You know, it's so neat to drive in the corner. I mean, that's what I love about racing, is driving down the corner, sliding the car in there and deciding how hard you can push the throttle, and that whole feeling of the car moving around. And there's no place better than this. Here, Atlanta, Texas, a lot of these tracks are really fun to drive. And that mile-and-a-half feel, that feel of the race car is what I really love.
Thank you. Any additional questions for Carl?
What kind of boat is it? Man, those are neat. There was something else, though. What is it? Wasn't there a bass boat or something? Maybe that was Atlanta. Yeah. Yeah. Who's got one? Oh, sorry, Brad. I didn't realize you were waiting, Brad. Those boats are nice, man. Man. So you don't have one either, Brad? Damn. What about boats for like the top 5? You know, just to more guys in boats can't be bad, right? All right.
It's like Oprah. You get a boat.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Everybody in the race gets a boat. All right. Thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. We are joined now by our 2012 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion and no stranger here to the Media Center at Homestead-Miami Speedway, Brad Keselowski. Brad, what's it mean for you to come back to the place where you won your championship? Does it bring back any memories for you, pleasant memories of that evening?
Sure does. This Media Center does, that's for sure. It's a great place, but we're glad to be back here and, of course, you know, testing and doing all those things to prepare for the race coming up here. I guess, what is it, about a month away, a little over a month away. And I think we should be really good coming back here. But this is, you know, as Carl was saying, a great track, a fun atmosphere, and a fun place to finish up our season. So it's also kind of bittersweet when you come here because you know it's the end of the season. It kind of feels like when I was much younger and it was the last day of school. But still looking forward to this weekend.
Good deal. We'll open the floor to questions, and we'll just work the microphone around the room.
Brad, Chris Green, South Dade News Leader. You've had success here in Xfinity, and you've run here pretty much every time in any car you've gotten in. What would it feel to cap off the season with a victory at Homestead-Miami Speedway?
Well, with the way the format is right now, a win would be, you know, obviously pretty huge if you can time it right with the format. But to win here, if you're not still eligible for the championship, would kind of feel like a waste. So, you know, I think this is a track we've been really close at winning at. The last 2 races here, we've been up front. I think we finished 3rd both times. So I think we're going to have a really good shot at winning coming back. This test helps. And we need to find a little bit more speed here. So I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to do just that.
Hi, Brad. Holly
Holly.
Kane. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to be here. Thank you. I wanted to ask you 2 questions. The first one is kind of what you are working on here, and along the lines with that, this is right in the middle of the chase. What is it like? You know, I'm sure you have, you know, a lot of attention on a lot of different areas.
Sure. As far as what we're working on, you know, the cars, it's always complicated to explain a stock car to people because the cars are not very stock. So we're always working on them, always developing them, and we come up with things that we think are better, and we try to validate them on track. You know, so we put them through all these tests that we have, you know, engineering tests with all these fancy computer simulation tools that try to tell us whether it's going to work or not work, and we get pretty confident that it's going to work. But of course, we always like to kind of backstop check it, and the racetrack gives us that ability. So I think we're going through a lot of things that we've been doing to our car and kind of, you know, with the proper implementation of all these cool gizmos to check things that you're allowed to use during testing and not during the race weekend, going through and just kind of validating parts and pieces.
And my second question has to do with Talladega. And you've had a lot of success at Talladega. So I know that this week is going to be, you know, a tough situation for you and you really need to fare well there. Do you kind of go in there feeling like, well, if I had to go someplace, this is a place I do feel going? Or is it the old, you know, who knows what could happen there?
You know, I haven't honestly thought very much about it. you know, with being here, I took Monday and took kind of a day off and just kind of cleared my head. And we came here this morning, and all I thought about was how to be the fastest I can be at Homestead. And honestly, I can't tell you, I put a lot of thought into Talladega. I want to do the best, and I want to live kind of day to day right now. I think that's important this time of year.
Brad, Chris Clark with NBC6 down here in Miami. I know you said you don't really think about it, but you were kind of in a similar spot, basically the exact same spot in 2014, and you did. I think you won Talladega. So, what can you draw from that, if anything?
That it's possible. I think beyond that, you know, tactics change, cars change. You know, I'm certainly 2 years older, so I've probably changed in some ways too. But you know you can do it, and that's enough to give you some peace of mind.
What do you think has been the key to all your success there at Talladega and restrictor plate races?
Ooh, I think with any success at the Cup level, no matter what the track is, that there's usually not one key. You know, you have to do everything right, and you have to have a great team. You have to make the right moves. And those strategies and tactics change, and of course you're going to need a little bit of good fortune. So I don't think there's really one key. I think you know, that track I've been very fortunate to win at a handful of times, and every time I feel like there was probably one moment that was more important than another moment, and they're not shared between the races. So I don't think there's one key.
Obviously, there's nothing you can do about it now, but there's always that sense when you're in the chase and there's points involved, that sometimes you can play it safe as being more aggressive. But you're a driver, and all you know is racing to win. So how do you look back at last week? How do you change how you approach everything?
I haven't really looked back. You know, I've been trying to look out the windshield, I guess, so to speak, not out the mirror.
Roxanne Vargas, also with NBC6 in Miami. Total non-technical question. Just want to know about
you, Roxanne.
You got it. You know, just the community that I'm catering to, that I'm talking to, the families. You know, coming out here with the kids, taking a taste of what you take a taste of all the time when you're on the track. Talk to me about this being, you know, an event for everybody to come out and enjoy together.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I think makes you know, NASCAR and motorsports kind of fun to me. Is it has more of a family environment, and when I look at what that means, it means I grew up in the sport with my dad, watching him race at the participant level. But I think you also look at it from the fan level. I know I have a lot of fans that can say the same, that they came to their first race with their dad, and they keep coming back, whether that's camping across the street or buying a ticket up in the stands and enjoying the race weekend that way. There's always been a really strong family element to the sport, and you know, I really like how NASCAR has added in some of their kid-friendly packages with the Xfinity and Truck Series races where kids can get in for free. So I think there's an environment here that's very much conducive to bringing a family, more so than probably any other sport.
You, as athletes, you're all just so cool and down to earth. And the only other sport that comes into my head right now, maybe golf, that the proximity that we have to the athletes. I mean, you know, kids have posters of you guys up in their walls. So the fact that we could that we can get, if we have the right passes, obviously as close to you as we can. I can't think of another sport where we have that type of proximity, that access to the athletes.
There's a lot of access in motorsports, and it's always been one of our sports strengths for sure. Thank you.
Sorry, I have another question. I feel like you're being very humble about your racing abilities on a restrictor plate track like Talladega, because you are very good, and history shows that. What do you think it is? Are you glad that this would be a place that's going to kind of advance the next championship round? I mean, if you had to pick, are you glad to see, okay, well, I know I've really got to crank it up?
There's worse places. There's much worse places. I don't know. I'm, you know, just feel kind of quiet and confident, and I feel like when you have those moments that if you have to talk about it, it's almost like you have to sell yourself, and I don't feel like I have to sell myself.
Hey, Brad. Matt Doolittle with Shakedown Zone. Actually, the last time we spoke was on a satellite tour for Discount Tire, and you won the next race. I'm just saying.
Okay.
There you go. So I think that was Talladega, too. So
Really good. I like this.
All right. So I know you, Martin Truex Jr. put out the picture that the Miller Lite team dropped off a thank you gift or a congratulations gift by his trailer last time. Talladega, everybody gets a little more heated and a little more angry.
Sometimes,
if anybody gets squirrely there, do they still get the gift at the end of
Usually
this?
they get mad at the track. That's the thing about Talladega. Usually they don't get mad at the drivers. They get mad at the track.
So they're still going to get one of your gifts?
Yeah.
Yeah. More Miller Lite for everybody, the better, right?
I haven't heard a complaint yet.
There you go.
Any additional questions for Brad?
Hey, Brad, Alex from NBC Miami as well. Just talk a little bit about what Homestead, the track, means to drivers at the end of the season, aside from the championship, what that sort of finish line for all the year's work and what it means to the family and the crews to sort of relax in paradise.
Yeah, when I think of Homestead, I mean, you think of last day of school. That's how it feels. And, you know, you leave here and hopefully you've had a great season. If you have, obviously you get to enjoy it and celebrate as a champion. If you haven't had a great season, it's like it's finally over. I can recoup and catch your breath. But it's very much that last day of school feeling, and sometimes that can be very bittersweet when you're having a great year.
Any additional questions? Well, Brad, it's not the last day of school, but it's recess right now. Go enjoy your final few minutes.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.